They say you can tell how much someone values something by the ferocity with which they will fight to keep it. Well, if that's the case, then Democrats and the foreign policy establishment in Washington, D.C. must really put a lot of stock in a little agency known as USAID because Elon Musk and Donald Trump are making moves to dismantle the agency. But that sort of begs the question, why are the Democrats and the foreign policy establishment in Washington so hepped on keeping this agency alive? Hang on, folks. We've got the details and we'll give them to you here in just 1 second. My name is Brian Trippett. I am your front porch conservative. Step on up to my electronic front porch and let's talk. Hi, folks. Brian Trippett here, the Front Porch Conservative, and I was wondering if I could ask for your help with something. I have channels on two different social media platforms. The first one, known as Talking on the Front Porch, you can find on YouTube. The other you can find on Rumble simply under the name The Front Porch Conservative. Would you please do me the following favors? Number one, if you are not a subscriber to my channel, please subscribe on Rumble and on YouTube. Number two, if you like this video, please hit the thumbs up and leave a comment in chat. Believe it or not, it really helps with the algorithm and it helps me spread the word about my channel. And hopefully we can make it grow. Number three, please share the link around to your friends. And finally, please hit the bell for notifications. I want to make sure you are always aware when I have new live streams and new videos that are getting uploaded. And with that, on to the video. Donald Trump has made no secret of his desire to reduce the size of the current federal government, to shutter programs, and in some cases, completely close down whole agencies of the federal government. Well, today, in consultation with Elon Musk and his boys from the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE as it's commonly called, Trump not only made good on his word, but also set off a firestorm in Washington, D.C. that is absolutely lighting everybody up. We will begin, as is our wont, with the pages of the Associated Press. Headline: Trump and Musk move to dismantle USAID, igniting battle with Democratic lawmakers. Article written by Ellen Nickmeyer, Harnoush Arami, and Adriana Gomez Licon. We have the following. Dateline, Washington, D.C. The Trump administration and billionaire ally Elon Musk moved to eradicate the agency that provides crucial aid that funds education and fights starvation, epidemic, and poverty overseas, sparking a showdown with congressional Democrats who blasted the effort as illegal and vowed a court fight. In one of the most dramatic efforts to push back on President Donald Trump's bid to slash and reshape the federal government, some Democrats sought money to enter the headquarters of the U.S. Agency for International Development. They were blocked by officers from even broaching the lobby, and Secretary of State Marco Rubio said that he was the acting administrator of the agency, despite it being an independent body for 6 decades. While Trump has spent the first 3 weeks of his new presidency making broad changes to the federal government, the fast-moving developments at USAID have emerged as a particularly controversial flashpoint with Democrats who argue it symbolizes the massive power Musk is wielding over Washington. Quote, spent the weekend feeding USAID into the wood chipper, Musk boasted on X. In the space of the few weeks, in fact, much of the agency was dismantled. Work and spending orders stopped, leadership and staff gutted by furloughs, firings, and disciplinary leaves, and the website taken offline. Lawmakers said the agency's computer servers were carted away. Trump told reporters Monday that shutting down USAID should have been done a long time ago. Asked whether he needs Congress to approve such a measure, the president said he did not think so. All right, let's get into this. The USAID, simple, little innocuously named agency, the United States Agency for International Development, as it's commonly called. And this agency goes back a really long time. I take you to the pages of Wikipedia. USAID is an independent agency of the United States government that is primarily responsible for administering civilian foreign aid and development assistance with a budget of over $50 billion. $50 billion? Really? But let's get back to the article. USAID is one of the largest official aid agencies in the world and accounts for more than half of all U.S. foreign assistance, the highest in the world in absolute dollar terms. Congress passed the Foreign Assistance Act on September 4th, 1961, which reorganized U.S. foreign assistance programs and mandated the creation of an agency to administer economic aid. USAID was subsequently established by the executive order of President John F. Kennedy, who sought to unite several existing foreign assistance organizations and programs under one agency. USAID became the first foreign assistance organization whose primary focus was long-term socioeconomic development. All right. On its face, this organization sounds fairly innocuous. It sounds like something that, we ought to be striving to try and do if we're going to give out foreign aid. Well, okay, a dubious cause at best, or at a minimum, very debatable. Then we ought to have one central agency that does all that. And frankly, you can kind of understand why. But the reaction of Democrats to even just the idea of reorganizing this or reshaping it or even taking it down altogether is absolutely sending everybody up into fits. And if you want a good example of that, take a listen to Jen Psaki, and she makes a compelling case for the agency. On her show today on MSNBC, we hear the following. Check it out.
His latest target was the United States Agency for International Development. And that agency is the one that not only leads on humanitarian assistance around the world, but also works to combat corruption in foreign aid programs. It's a big part of what they do. I kind of see how that could make Elon Musk a bit uncomfortable.
Oh, I don't know, Jen. I don't think it's the fact that it makes Elon Musk uncomfortable as much as Elon is looking at this going, can we do this more efficiently? And that may be part of the rub with this, but I digress. But Democrats wasted no time jumping on the outrage wagon. Here we have Jamie Raskin protesting in front of the USAID headquarters in Washington, D.C. And let me tell you, this guy is probably one of the best actors the Democrats have got. Check this out.
Elon Musk, you didn't create USAID. The United States Congress did for the American people. And just like Elon Musk did not create USAID, he doesn't have the power to destroy it. And who's going to stop him? We are. We're going to stop him.
Well, good luck with that, because when last I checked, it was USAID that was created by an executive order of a former president of the United States. If an executive order can create the agency, then it seems to me an executive order ought to be able to take it down. So you might be stretching yourself a little bit thin there, Jamie. But again, what's all the hubbub? Agencies come, agencies go. Well, in theory anyway. But to Democrats, they never depart. But you get my idea. What's the problem here? All that the Trump administration is looking to do is to streamline the operations and make it more efficient. But according to the Democrats, you'd have thought that absolutely all hell had broken loose. And frankly, when you ask some of the Trump team about this, they kind of make sense in their arguments. Here's Marco Rubio during his trip to El Salvador when asked about the shuttering of USAID. Here's what he had to say.
Well, look, my frustration with USAID goes back to my time in Congress. It's a completely unresponsive agency. It's supposed to respond to policy directives of the State Department, and it refuses to do so. So the functions of USAID, there are a lot of functions of USAID that are going to continue, that are going to be part of American foreign policy, but it has to be aligned with American foreign policy. I said very clearly during my confirmation hearing that every dollar we spend and every program we fund, that will be aligned with the national interest of the United States. And USAID has a history of sort of ignoring that and deciding that there's somehow a global charity.
Now I think I'm beginning to see the rub. It's not so much that this agency exists, it's that they're right now running rogue. But that sort of begs the question, doesn't it? Why would an agency that's tasked with giving out civilian foreign aid not be responsive to the State Department, the agency under which it ought to operate? After all, shouldn't there be some measure of coordination? If the State Department calls on USAID to explain why certain money is going in certain places for certain things, shouldn't USAID begin to answer that question? Well, that may very well be part of the problem, because a little later in the day, Caroline Leavitt, the press secretary for the Trump administration, gave some examples of how USAID has been spending money. And boy, let me tell you, these are some doozies. Ladies and gentlemen, check this out.
Through USAID over the past several years, these are some of the insane priorities that organization has been spending money on. $1.5 million to advance DEI in Serbia's workplaces, $70,000 for a production of a DEI musical in Ireland, $47,000 for a transgender opera in Colombia, $32,000 for a transgender comic book in Peru. I don't know about you, but as an American taxpayer, I don't want my dollars going towards this crap, and I know the American people don't either, and that's exactly what Elon Musk has been tasked by President Trump to do, to get the fraud, waste, and abuse out of our federal government.
Well, you know, when you start hearing examples like that, you can kind of understand why there's a desire on the part of Doge, Elon Musk, and more particularly Donald Trump, who, by the way, Democrats, he is the chief executive officer of the federal government of the United States. We generally call him president, but that means he gets to make the call on this stuff. With examples like that, you begin to understand why everybody's like, okay, maybe it's time to start rethinking how these folks do things. And if we can't get them to rethink it, maybe we ought to just shut this thing down. But could it very well be that everyone's protesting about all this? The Democrats, the foreign policy establishment in Washington, D.C., the deep state, dare I use that term. Could it be that they're a little bit more than upset, not for the reasons already stated, but maybe, just maybe, there is a reason beyond the obvious why it is everybody on the political left in Washington, D.C. is all up in arms about this? I give you Mike Benz, himself a former employee of the Secretary of State's office, an expert in cyber matters, and he appeared today on Steve Bannon's show War Room, and he had some comments about the USAID agency, and I think you're going to want to hear this. Ladies and gentlemen, check this out.
So what happened is when the CIA got in trouble in the 1960s and 70s, they needed an ever deeper layer of plausible deniability for the dirty work. The CIA was only created because the State Department wanted to do the dirty work, but couldn't afford to get caught with U.S. government fingerprints on it. So they created a spy agency that did work claiming not to represent the U.S. government to do it. And then CIA started getting in trouble. And so USAID started taking over their business. And they do that in tandem with this group, the National Endowment for Democracy. They are, kissing cousins. They always move together in all things. This is a huge, massive, fundamental restructuring of the American empire.
Oh my goodness! Wait a minute. You mean this isn't just about civilian foreign aid to countries around the world? You mean this isn't about, in Jen Psaki's words, trying to root out corruption and illegality through a federal agency? You mean this is more than just a dispute about what they ought to be spending money on? Could it be that Elon Musk has stumbled into something that certain people in Washington, D.C. didn't want to be found out? Mike Benz appeared a little bit later on John Solomon's show, Just the News, and he had some examples of some of the things that USAID has done over the years. So with that, folks, do me a favor, check this out. I think you're going to find this to be very enlightening.
There are several things. There's the sheer size of it. You have a $40 billion budget, which is, basically approximates the size of an intelligence agency. And I think a lot of it is because USAID is notorious for funding the darkest, most controversial, most horrifying projects known to all of mankind, from funding the Wuhan lab to funding the irrigation of crops for heroin production, to funding the production of fake social media websites to lure people in and then get them to overthrow their governments, to even setting up fake HIV clinics in order to use as cover so that regime change and government subversion work can be done under the cloak of public health institutions. USAID has systematically corrupted both American and world trust in the institutions that keep society going. But frankly, on a personal note, I was not sure how I felt about all of that until I discovered the sheer and staggering depths of USAID's role in the construction of the internet censorship apparatus that took down free speech in this America.
Oh my, now it's starting to become painfully obvious what's happened here. Everybody in official Washington, D.C. isn't upset about the fact that a little agency is being taken down, which, interestingly enough, it's a little agency with a $40 to $50 billion a year budget. No, this is more than that. Elon got tasked with cleaning up the house. He found a rock, kicked it over, and found something under the rock that some people did not want to be found. If what Mike Benz, and by the way, many others have alleged as it relates to USAID, then frankly, that agency should have been shuttered a long time ago. If the allegations against the USAID agency are true, and it's nothing more than the hands and feet of the CIA, then frankly, Elon Musk has done the United States people a big favor. The great fight that's going on these days is a question of who runs the government. Is it we, the people, through our elected representatives and the president that we vote upon? Or is the government in the control of an unelected, unaccountable bureaucracy that can do whatever it wants with our tax dollars and with our prestige and under our name? That's the great fight. This isn't so much about Donald Trump or Elon Musk or Jamie Raskin or any senator or congressman. No, this is about whose government is this anyway. My advice to Elon, keep on kicking over the rocks, expose this stuff to the sunlight, and then let's have a really healthy debate about whether some of these things that have been going on should still be going on. But that's what I've got to say about it. What do you think? As we start to wrap up this video, please do me some favors as always. Number 1, if you're not subscribed to my channel, please do so. Number 2, please make sure you're hitting the bell for notifications and that you're always aware when new videos, new live streams are coming out. Number 3, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment in chat. And number 4, share the video around. We are a going little concern, and we'd like to be a going big concern, and we can do that with your help. My name is Brian Trippett. I am your front porch conservative, and I'll see you next time.